So welcome to the AP Precalculus course overview, and we'll dive right straight into it. So first, about Five Hive. This intro session was prepared by me, of course, and Five Hive is a volunteer student-led run initiative with 100 plus volunteers and 10,000 plus combined volunteer hours that seeks to provide resources for students taking AP courses. And we're gonna check out fivehive.org, the website, later. And if you would like to contribute, here is the Google Doc if you would like to apply if you have a 5 or 4 on the exam. Okay, and this is our Instagram and TikTok, and this is our website link. So first thing from last year, if you come to these lectures, the people who came to these lectures, 98% passed and 73% got a 5. So I think you should come for the next few lectures, like for the rest of the year. Because think about it. Out of 51 people, the people who came, 98% passed and 53% got a 5. So I'd say come for the next one. That's pretty much. Yeah, P is actually less than 0.05. It's 51 sample size. But besides the point. So the 3 units, we have 3 units. Polynomial and rational functions, exponential and logarithmic functions, and trig and polar functions. And the first and the third units are weighted the most. And our exam structure is first MCQs, where it's part 1 non-calculator and part 2 calculator. Our part 1 calculator has 28 questions and it's 80 minutes, and it's 44% of your score. Part 2 is 12 questions and you get 40 minutes. And section 2, part 1 is your FRQ, and it's calculator, and FRQ part 2 is non-calculator. It's structured like a state test. It's structured like an AP exam. It's like the rest of the AP exams. It's like the structured like a calc exam. And yes, we will be going over resources and stuff near the end of the lecture. So any questions about the units and the exam structure? Nope. Alright, so unit 1 is what most of you guys are on right now. And the first 3 units, the first like 3 to 4 topics. No, it's not 4 major exams. It's 1 big exam, and it has like 4 parts to it. So like your first like hour, 20 minutes, your first 2 hours are MCQ, and your last hour is FRQ. So any more questions? Is there a link to the doc? Yes, I will share the doc. Oh, to this slideshow? The AP exams are typically about 3 hours. I'll check if I can share the slideshow. But for now, we will continue. So the first unit is polynomial functions, rational functions, and the beginning of regressions. And the first topic is rate of change, which most of you guys are on, I'm assuming, right now. And then after that, you'll move on to polynomial functions, rational functions, and then you'll be comparing them, and then you'll be doing some regression stuff. Any questions about what's like covered in Unit 1? This is mostly a Q&A type of lecture because there's not much content to be covered. Is this what we're... there's more, but this is like the beginning, going over like the units, like the basics. We'll be going we'll do a sneak peek into Unit 1. So Unit 2 is, you first start with sequences, like arithmetic and geometric sequences. Then you move on to exponential functions and context and data modeling. You do need to know polynomial division for Unit 1.5. And then you'll be doing some exponential functions and some regressions related to them. And how often are these lectures? In April and May, they'll be almost every single day, or every other day if you combine all the AP exams. There'll be like a few scattered around before then, but most of them will be in AP season, like Gunshed. These are intros, so yeah. Maybe there'll be a Q&A and stuff, but yeah. So then we talk about logarithmic functions, and then we talk about semi-log plots. Unit 3 is your trig and polar unit. You first start with sine and cosine, so your sine and cosine graphs in the unit circle. Then you talk about regressions in sine. Then you talk about tangent and cosecant, secant, and cotangent. And you talk about equations and inequalities, your identities, and then the last 3 topics are polar. And this is what most people consider the hardest unit. Out of like 80 students, I'm pretty sure 70 consider them the hardest from people who filled out the feedback form last year. Go back to unit 2, sure. Yeah, you can always learn how to do logs. Unit AP Precalc Unit 2, see, like if you look at it, you first learn how to do log, then you learn how to do the inverse, then it goes slowly. Yeah, polar is one of the harder units, I agree. Lots of people had questions on them last year. We had like a full 2-hour lecture on just polar last year. Someone said is Precalc gonna be like most of yeah, the first 2 units will be mostly like algebra 2, that is correct. And unit 4 is the optional unit. Your teacher might or might not cover this. We won't be lecturing on this. So it starts with parametric functions, it goes to conic sections, does a little bit of vectors, and does matrices. How hard is, on the scale, Precalc gonna be if I haven't took algebra 2? It'll be a little bit harder than like the most people. It'll be like, yeah, like a 6. I'd agree with that. So now we're gonna go into the 5 website. This is where like more interesting stuff starts. So first, for Precalc, there isn't much, but there is like MCQ tests. So if you're looking for practice questions, there are practice questions, and there's a mock exam at the end. So there's practice questions for each unit. And then the more interesting thing is there is FRQ. You can, oh yeah, I'll share the link. So the more interesting thing is if you make an account, you can submit, your 5 is free. So if you can submit, you know your official AP FRQs, right? If you go to AP Precalc, you can like submit, you can like take this thing, right? And then you can submit it. So like, for example, if we go to 2024, we'll select AP Precalculus, we'll say it's an FRQ, and we'll submit FRQ 1. So we're gonna go to FRQ responses, and then we're gonna answer FRQ 1. We're gonna put our answers in like in a Google Doc. And then you're gonna submit this Google Doc here, and then eventually in like about 12 to 48 hours, you'll get a detailed score and explanation to why you got that. So pretty much we're like a teacher who will grade your things if you post them. But it's there for all the AP exams. So any questions about this website and like this FRQ grading response thing? Do you have like videos? Yes. We have, yeah, we have, I'll go to the 5 YouTube real quick. So on the 5 YouTube, there is, this is like all the old lectures. So if you go to like Precalc, for example, I have like 3 of the lectures from last year. With Unit 2, Unit 3, like the second half of Unit 3, and like the final cram session and Q&A. And there's other exams like stats, world history, like calculus. Calculus is the most, and US history, of course. And so that's the website. So any questions about 5 the website, all that stuff? They review full 2 essays? Yes, they do. If you submit them in here, for like example AP Lang, you can submit it here, or AP Lit. So you can submit it for any AP exam that's here, and even the histories. It says work in progress. So right now we don't have that many people working on Precalculus, but they're slowly getting through like one by one the articles. This takes time to make them, so there's no current the date for them to be released. Just the MCQs are released like definitely this year. So that's the tour of the 5 website. So any questions about the 5 website or 5 in general? What are the requirements for teaching a course? You just need a 4 or 5, and you have to do like some lecture stuff. And you have to fill out the application. Yeah, I can give the application link. Hold up. Oh, wrong way. Uh, all you need is 4 or 5, yeah. And you have to apply. Alright, so now this is a sneak peek of the Unit 1 lecture hosted by the Cool Savage, who's in the call right now, in April 2025. Credits to him for the slides. So, the first topic is increasing and decreasing. A function increases if the y values increase from left to right. So, for example, from like the beginning of this curve to f, it's increasing. A function decreases if the y values decrease from left to right. So from like f to g, g to j. And it's increasing from j to k and k to p. And so when you draw a function, if the pencil goes up, it increases. And if the pencil goes down, it decreases. So let's try this. Referring to the graph h in part A, the t-coordinate of k is t1, and the t-coordinate of p is t2. On the interval t1 to t2, which of the following is true about h? H is positive and increasing, H is positive and decreasing, H is negative and decreasing, and H is negative and decreasing. So try the question out. And spoiler it if you can, if you know how to spoiler. Or just enter the poll. Which one do you think it is? Yeah, the materials are from Savage's slideshow from from May this year. I'll give like 5 more minutes to answer. Actually, I'll give like a minute or two to answer. It's a short question. What's t? T is your x coordinate here. So like if you look, it says t is your x coordinate and h of t is your y coordinate. So it's saying from x1, so x1 to x2, is it A, B, C, or D? I can't answer polls on mobile. Alright, then if you can't answer them, try to do this. So type the 2 bars on both sides of your answer so that no one can see your answer unless they click on it. And yeah, and if you do that, it'll spoiler like, is there a place where we can access these presentations? During the EP season, there'll be like a spreadsheet with all the slideshows and stuff, but yeah. So the winning answer is A. It's positive and increasing. Because from K to P, if you use the values are positive because the average rate of change is positive, and then it's also increasing because our pencil is going up. And this is Unit 1, yes. This is like the first part of Unit 1. Alright, concavity. And the best way to decide is visually. If it's up, it's a smiley face upwards, and if it's down, it's a smiley face downwards. And ignore the bottom part, some yeah, sure, I can go back. Ignore the bottom part, it's not very important for pre-calc, it's more of a calc topic, the bottom picture. Yep, and you got the spoiler down. Hamburger, are you good? So, rates of change, the topic I think most of you might or might not be struggling with. The average rate of change is determined by the following: f of b minus f of a divided by b minus a, or your slope. It's your slope formula. A secant line refers to a line that cuts through 2 points, or the slope of the secant line is the AROC, or the average rate of change. A tangent line refers to a line that touches a graph at one point, and it's the slope of the tangent line, or the instantaneous rate of change. And note simply the words rate of change indicates a tangent line. So for example, this is your secant line is your 2-point slope, but instantaneous rate of change looks like this. So at t1, the rate of change of f is positive because it's going upwards. At t2 is 0 because it's a constant line. And at t3, it's negative because it's going downwards. And for precalc, that's all you have to do. Identify if it's going positive, 0, or negative. You don't have to determine the exact value yet. That's calculus. And if f of x and behavior and ROC behavior. If the function's increasing, it's positive. If the function's decreasing, it's negative. If it's concave up, it's increasing. If it's concave down, it's decreasing. Any questions about rates of change? And yeah, it's called the point of inflection, which is the next slide. So you predicted this. Can we see an example of you using the equation for AROC? Yeah, we can definitely do an example at the end. Like we'll have lots of time, it looks like. So we can go through some examples and like you guys can just send questions and we'll just work through them for the last like hour. Because it looks like it's gonna be a pretty short lecture. So yeah. So special points. Relative local extrema occurs on open intervals. There can be multiple. Relative minima is when a function goes from decreasing to increasing. And relative maxima is when a function goes from increasing to decreasing. So it's your vertex, and this is your relative this is your relative maximum, and this is your relative minimum. And absolute global extrema occurs on closed intervals. There can only be two, since it's the absolute highest and lowest point. And inflection points are where concavity changes, so when it changes from increasing to decreasing or vice versa. So any questions about these special points? I see two people typing, so I'll wait. Several people typing. Okay, hold up. No, wait. Precalc mainly just graphs and functions. Yeah, it's a lot about graphs and functions, and there's a good amount of solving. When is global minima and minimum? When global minima and maximum is not possible. So pretty much, if it's going towards positive infinity and negative infinity, then it's not possible. Pretty much. So if it's like increasing, oh no, remove this. So if you go like do a function that just goes up to infinity, there's no relative maxima because it's just going up infinitely. Same thing the other way. So this has an absolute, so quadratics pretty much. Does that make sense to Supra 4186? Cool. Alright, so FRQ1. FRQ1 pretty much is functions, and you get functions, you do some composition of functions, you do a little bit of inverse functions, some zeros, and limit and behavior. So pretty much, this is one of the easier FRQs because you get a calculator for this. So any questions about FRQ1, like what it covers? You can't, I don't think you can solve this right now. I don't got the answers anyway. But FRQ2 this is considered the hardest FRQ, and it's a function that isn't a trig function, it's calculating rates of change, and if a model is appropriate. FRQ3 is a trig function, and it's finding points based off like a real like word problem, like context. Like this one's about a vibrating string. and it's making an equation on those points, and then looking at the rate of change of the function, which is what we just did. So this part's the easiest because you guys already did it. That's what unit 1 is. Next, FRQ4 is your symbolic manipulations, or your algebra. Solving, factoring, plugging in values, all of the above. So any questions about any of the 4 types of FRQs? We won't go over how to do them yet. We'll go over that in like April-ish, maybe March. But for now, we'll be just going over what they are. Assume throughout the year we can understand more about, yeah, by the time we get to like March, April, these questions will seem super easy. That's just logs, yeah. Where can I find more questions? Yep, we will get to that, I think, on the next slide. Yep, the resources slide. So, this is also linked in the AP Precalculus channel. It's in the Precalc pins, but for now, I'll post it in here. So we'll go through all the resources. Alright, so first, anything that has the paid thing, you have to pay money for. So first is the CED, which has, if you scroll to like a certain page, it tells you what each unit covers. So like 1.1, it tells you what you have to know. Same thing at 1.2, and so on. And there's also practice questions at the end of it. There's like 20 practice questions at the end of it. From there, there's the course at a glance, course overview, etc. Progress checks and practice tests are found on AP Classroom. So your teacher has to assign that to you. Next, the FRQs. And there's only 1 year of FAQ so far, but like in a month or two, you'll see 2025 scoring guidelines. On which website? This one? Or so then there's 2 practice tests from Google. Oh wait, Albert. So then there's these 2 practice tests, and it's pretty much just going over like what you have to know for unit 1. And it has tons of practice, and then it also has an answer key in that same folder. And if you have any questions, you can come ask in the Precalc channel. And then there's a Precalc review exam, which has all 3 units with Polar. And it's like 16 pages worth of good practice. And it has about 105 questions in total. And it is also a key with work. From there, we have 5 High, where there are more units than just 1. What do you mean by that? There's only 3 units, so most of there's units 1 through 3, yeah. Then you have 5 Hive, which has the MCQs, which I've already shown before. There's a Unit 1 test, Unit 2 test, and a Unit 3 test. And there's a practice mock exam at the end. Yeah, and it also is like AP style. So if I click on one of them right now, it has the AP style thing. It has the timer. It has marking, eliminations, and there's like 21 questions for this one. From there, you also have high school test prep, which has like, I think 15 to 20 questions per unit. Then you also have this paid website, which I'm not going to go over. But then the best thing is Brian Passwater. Brian Passwater has MCQs and FRQs. So for example, we're going to go into the Unit 1 MCQs. And we're going to go to like the first question. And there's like 180 questions, I'm pretty sure. And it's 59 pages. There's 183 questions at Unit 1. So it's like all AP style questions. Yep, it's the GOAT Brian Passwater. Yep. So for now, we'll try to do one. So try to solve this. I will put a poll real quick. Alright, try to solve this. Yeah, these are like AP style level questions. So cover how to approach the FAQs in general without getting lost. Yeah, we can go over that. Got time. Okay, and looks like the poll that's winning right now is A. And the answer is A. Any questions about this one? About number one? Why isn't it C? I knew it was A, but why? So, it can't be C because it says that he leaves his home, right? So it says distance from home. So he's not leaving from home. It's the other way around. He's going towards home. And yeah, it's not right because he's leaving his house. Uh, so anybody else any questions on this one? A and D the same integers. What's the difference? It says he leaves his house, so that's the difference. That's it. Yeah. Is this what? I think this could. I think this is 1.1 to 1.3. So I think this could be 1.1. I will try one more, I guess, because we got time. So try number two. Reading closely. Yep. You have to read carefully on AP style questions. There's usually like one word, two word differences that change everything. Oh, I forgot the poll. Hold up. The poll. I make the poll. Hold up. I make it. Boom. Oopsies, my bad. I forgot to make a poll this time. This is a confusing question. I agree. But these, I can agree these are AP style questions because I did see it today in AP Classroom when I was helping Hamburglar. Okay. Yeah, water-based questions are annoying. I agree. We're supposed to do two. The answer for number two is C. Oh, it said C because it says the depth of the water increases at an increasing rate. So that means it starts to increase faster and faster, and then at a certain point, it'll start increasing slower and slower. Does that make sense to anyone who didn't understand it or guessed or got it wrong? Is this no? This is concavity and vases. This makes sense. This seems pretty easy since it's more visual. Let's try another one that's not visual then. See if this is not visual. Try this one. Alright, number 6. The figure below shows the graph of function f. Why it isn't a? Okay. I can explain why it's not a. So it's not a because it would start increasing faster. It would increase at a slower pace as it goes on. So it's not doing the second part. It's not doing the first part, increasing at increasing rate. Yeah, these can be answered with common sense. These are you should try to answer these with common sense and try to mathematically reasoning them. So it says something, wait, hold up. It says something increasing. Does that mean the decreasing rate makes it slow down? Yeah, it means it just like slowly increases and gets slower. So we'll try one that's with now. So we talked about inflection points where it changes from concave up to concave down. So what is number 6 based off that? I will make the poll. A point of inflection is inflection points are where concavity changes. So when it goes from concave up to concave down. And so the first increase decrease word is if it goes down up or down. The second increase if it's going up faster and faster. Yeah, pretty much. So try the 4th question of today. Okay, and it looks like everyone is in consensus. Oh wait, no, maybe. So we have 2 A's and 3's and 6, 7 C's. So 6 is C. Alright, 6 is C because there's 3 points of concavity. The first point of concavity is around here at 5. There's another point at I think 2 and at like 1.5 and like 2.5. So does that make sense to everyone? Yep, okay. Maybe are these considered wait, those are considered concavities. Points of inflection. Concavity is like the upside down or like U's. So like this is a concavity. This is a concavity. So it's like yeah, it's like a parabola. It's like which direction is your thing going in? What's with the second derivative? It doesn't matter. It's just from the picture from Google. Alright, we're gonna go through the rest of the stuff. So then there's Brian passed out the FRQs. So there's FRQ 1, 2, and 3, 4, and there's like tons of practice for each one. So like there's A through H, and there's like multiple examples for each one. And there's also I through M with more examples. And that's pretty much it for this. And there's the answer keys as well, which have like scoring rubrics, like part A, part C, part A, part C, and etc. And then there's third-party curricula. So there's, of course, I think most of you have heard of flipped math before. So they have videos and they have practice and stuff like that. You haven't heard of flip? Oh wait, yeah. So flip math's pretty much one of those white websites that have like videos and like practice questions for each topic. And a lot of these do. So like this person has the Brian Passwater. You get all these websites from I got most of them from the website, but it's compiled for 5.5's FAQ team. So in like a month or so, the FAQ document will be released for Precalc. So there's like the Blink worksheets and there's like all of these things. So there's like all the worksheets, practice tests, all of it. So, and you can watch his videos for the answer keys for all of them. So there's this practice. Then there's this is another like practice source that's not paid, and it's like practice questions for each topic. So then there's textbooks and prep books. You have your problem solving if you're looking for a textbook. So like OpenStax, 5 Steps to 5, Barron's, Best Score prep book. All of these links are in this Google Doc. They're also in AP Precalc pins if you lose the pins. What is the best way to review for a unit? The best way to review for a unit is just to do practice, honestly. Like if you can grind through all the practice questions, like that's easy. This doc is not on the 5 website yet. There'll be a longer version of this doc in like about a month. In about a month it'll be on the website. Is the best which prep book? So the only prep books outside like there's only like 3 prep books for pre-calc: 5 Steps to 5, Barron's prep book, and Best Score prep book. And I'd say Best Score prep book or 5 Steps to 5 is pretty good because Barron's prep book doesn't have AP style. What was the other question? What is the hardest unit that would be on the exam? Most people consider Unit 3 the hardest unit on the exam. And then there's a list of YouTubers here. And there's Math Teacher Goat. There's the 5 Hive lectures from last season. You have Organic Chemistry Turf. Yeah, Unit 3 is the trigonometry stuff. As the AP courses continue, we'll be doing lectures in line with what we learn. That might happen. It depends because every school is at a different pace. So like this intro session, like some of you guys haven't even started school, but some have. So it depends. Is pre-calc trig? Pre-calc is like algebra 2 and trig. Trig is like like a topic of math. It's not like a specific, like trig will show up in calculus. So it's not like it belongs to pre-calc, but yeah. And then you have YouTubers. Is Precalc most similar to Algebra 2, just more unit? It's similar to Algebra 2, and then there's lots of trig at the end. It's like Algebra 2 and like a good amount of trig at the end. What even is trig? It's like your right triangles, trigonometry, stuff like that. So yeah, you learn a little bit more complex trigonometry in Precalculus. And then there's this AP reference guide by Alexander Lego, a guy who took the Precalc exam. It's in the pins as well. It's a pretty good resource. Then you have mathematics, quick notes, justification guide, exam tips, regression. And you finally have unit review practices with keys. So if you're looking for some more practice, there's some more practice. And it has like 657 questions about per packet with keys that are worked out solutions, not just answers. So yeah. So this can be found in AP Precalc pins if you ever lose the link. So, and that is the end of the lecture. So now it'll just be open Q&A.